check one more thing. My name is Trinace Richardson, and I am the founder of Real Women Rock. We exist to create safe spaces for women to do personal development work on themselves. And it is my honor and my pleasure to be with you tonight because we have so many good things to talk about tonight. I cannot wait to converse with you all. I'm looking forward to this conversation because it's with somebody that, with a very, very, very good friend and sister girl. We have a whole lot that we can talk about. So I'm looking forward to it. But first, just a few announcements for you all. I want to make sure that you all know more about who we are and what we represent. We create these safe spaces through sister circles. We do them virtually as well as live in person pre-COVID. And so when we do them virtually, we really thought, you know what, we're not going to be able to connect as well. Not true, not so. We have had an absolutely amazing time, literally just connecting virtually as if we were in in-person sister circles. So we invite you to attend. We have one coming up Saturday, December 12th. Saturday, December 12th. It is going to be called, But Are You Happy Though? But Are You Happy Though? Because there's so many things happening right now. We really could like just stay in the muck and mire of not being happy and not being satisfied. But we need to talk about what that looks like. Where do we find our joy and how can we find our joy, even in the midst of all the stuff that we're dealing with? And I'm really hoping that you've been doing that you have been. But just in case you need some encouragement and some help with that, we are here to help you. So please come join us. And Saturday, December 12th at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you need more information, you can find it all at realwomenrock.org. Again, realwomenrock.org. And I'm hoping that I'm fixing it right now, y'all. I see the G was left off. There we go. I got it. realwomenrock.org. So if you go there, you will be able to see it. All right. I am looking and checking and making sure that everything is set up correctly because I'm going to let her in now so that we can start talking. This is not just a fellow educator. This is not just a colleague or someone that I know from a professional setting. We went to college together, and we didn't just go to college together. We were suite mates. We were literally roommates in the back of the yard in the suites. And so so we go way back, and I am just elated. It's just so many of our sister friends, sorors, college mates have done some amazing, wonderful things in life. And Stacia is one of those women. You all will have to forgive me. I am certain that I'm going to call her Stacia before this is over with, but that's just my name for her. You all don't get to do that. I do that. So
the only one.
I'm the only one. Okay, so Stacia McFadden, and I do want you to say hello and introduce yourself, but I just really want folks to know from my heart to yours that even though we have had the good fortune to live in the same areas at different points after school, we literally do not have to talk to each other for weeks, months, whatever. And I just appreciate how genuine a soul you are, that you are. You exude love and support for your sisters. It starts, I think, with your family first, but then it gets to spill over into your sisterhood relationships. And I benefit from that because I get to see you connecting folks and keeping us aware of stuff that's happening in each other's lives. And I just want to say thank you for that. But you are also an accomplished educator. You got 2 master's degrees. You are the Chief Information Officer at the Lovett School, which is a prominent, prestigious private school in Atlanta, Georgia. And so it is an honor to have this conversation with you today. Would you mind just saying hello to folks and sharing anything else you'd like to share?
Oh, hey everybody. And I'm so honored to be here. I have admired Trinace since the day I met her. She's always going to be my queen. She was the queen of our university. And so just know the feeling is mutual, the respect and the love that we have for each other. And Trinace, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but you were really one of the main people that was responsible for my spiritual growth.
Wow.
In college, just because I saw like true, authentic Christianity, not like that whole we got to be religious, like do this, do that, whatever. You always just kept it so real, and it really inspired me to get to know God more personally for myself. So I don't know if I ever shared that with you, but you were that person to me.
No, you did
not. Yeah. So yeah. So
I don't want you to have me crying early, please. Thank you.
Hey, it's the truth, right? It's the truth. But yeah, I'm happy to be here with your family, and I've seen you from afar, and I got to do better, and so that's what I'm pledging to do tonight. But I'm just glad to be here to share some of my story. I'm from Florence, South Carolina. Met Trinace at Elizabeth City State University. Lived all up and down the East Coast, New York, DC. Have a beautiful son, Aaron. Been married, divorced, wrote a book about it, got a t-shirt, all that stuff. But that's what we're going to talk about tonight, right? So yes. I'm ready to dive in.
Woo! Well, I need to say before we actually start yeah. All of that, I'm saying it on camera too, because you are such a connector. You have spent years, you have spent decades, like really working hard to stay connected with people, keep up with people, and to keep, to help encourage other people to stay connected. So if anybody deserves a break, you do. And I'm just saying that, like, I'm gonna put that out there. Some of us need to step up our game and catch up with where you've been. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. And so I wanted to talk about something, always a real and relevant topic for us. And this one is no different. We entitled it, Maintain Your Mental Health While Moving On Up. And I think I'll start with the latter part of that, because you are someone who has just recently been promoted, but you've always excelled in the circles that you've been in professionally. And there's just a lot that we could say about, just being at the chief information officer. Like, let's just start there. But not just there, you have two master's degrees from a prominent, prestigious college, Teachers College at Columbia, their leadership program there, their private school leadership program. You serve as a board member on prominent boards. And I just think that all of those things, like, they don't just happen. They happen from you doing something or endeavoring in some way. And so could you first, before we dig into what maintaining mental health is, let's just talk about that moving on up. What has been the secret to you kind of realizing some of those promotions and moving and shaking and doing some things really well?
Well, I will say some of it was definitely just being like blessed. Oh gosh, I don't even know where to begin, but Trinace, like, I was a single mom when I was finishing my first master's degree. Mm-hmm. And I think that puts a different kind of motivation in you, right? Because now you've got somebody else dependent on you to get it right. Yeah. So I will say my son, Aaron, has totally kept me motivated. And then one thing as a single mom is I had to have a network. So I know you talk about me networking and trying to keep people together, but I also had to have people holding me up. Yeah. And I had to realize that really early on, because when I first had Aaron, I was 27 in DC. My parents were in South Carolina, and I was so protective of him, right? I just wanted to get it right and be a good mom. But I was starting to resent my kid because I had lost who Stacia was. Like, I wasn't reading books. I wasn't going out. I wasn't doing this. And so I had to rely on other people. I had to start putting my trust in God and other people that they would take care and protect my kids so that I could have a life. So I think I had to come to grips with that because I didn't want to resent my kid later in life that I missed out on something, pouring everything into him. And I don't know how you grew up, but like those are the parents I saw, right? I saw moms who like gave up everything to raise their kids. And I love what you were just saying. You said something like, but are you really happy? Like I would think about that a lot. You would see these moms just giving so much into their kids and their kids were their pride and joy, but you would wonder, were they really happy doing that and sacrificing everything for that? So I'm glad I came to that realization early, even though it still wasn't easy being a single parent. I just had to, keep him and my vision at the forefront and think about what I wanted my life to look like. And I didn't want to have any regrets. And so I think that was just my primary motivation.
That is so good and real. I love that you shared that your connectedness to other people, even because from my perspective, it was just you being a strong connector, but the transparency that you're sharing is it also kept me supported like that, like I needed that as well. So I just really appreciate your transparency because what it lets folks know is that when you do stay connected and don't try to be an isolated island, you can benefit from the connectedness, and you don't just have to give out, you can be poured into. Hey, y'all, come on in. I don't know what my settings were doing, but thank you for joining. We are here and already jumping into the conversation. Please say hello. Let us know that you're here. We are talking about maintaining your mental health while moving up. This is so important. And my friend and sister, master educator, chief information officer of the Lovett School has just shared with us so many nuggets about just her moving up and the fact that, she stayed connected, that she looked for support being a single mom because she did not want to just resent having missed a whole lot. And so I guess I would start there and say, you had to juggle a whole lot. You were a single mom raising a boy, no less, like a young man, and you were working really hard and moving up ladders and all of those things. Do you think before you got to the realization, or even as you were doing the roller coaster ride of realizing some things, do you feel like you did sacrifice some of your mental wellness in that process?
Definitely.
Like, tell the truth, shame the devil.
Yeah, I mean, for real. If we gonna be real,
Yep.
Women have needs and we want to have companionships and relationships. And like, I didn't want to introduce my son to a bunch of men who weren't gonna be around. So, I was fortunate to find some love in life, and unfortunately, it didn't last. I got married and got divorced when my son was around second grade. I met someone, and we're great friends to this day. But it's a long story that we might have to talk about some other time. But yeah, like those are the things I kind of missed out on. I joke with my friends now that when my son graduates and goes to college next year, I'm going to be 27 for a year. Like I'm going back to 27. I don't know what that looks like right now.
Right.
Hopefully COVID will be over so I can do that.
But live your best life.
I'm just saying. But so no, that has definitely been something that I've intentionally not, done. Like, of course, you meet people and after a while you're like, you know what? I'm gonna just wait till he graduate. I don't want to put him through that or whatever. And it's a lot for me too. Like I was juggling enough without having to deal with that too. So I definitely sacrificed some things there. I definitely feel like I slowed my career growth.
Wow.
So I was sharing with Janae earlier about 2 years ago. My son went to summer camp at Appalachian State for 3 weeks. And the first summer he went to Appalachian State, I went to Hong Kong for work. I was buying a house. My grandmother passed. Like I didn't have time to miss him. It was like good that he was at summer camp because so much was going on.
Yeah.
The next summer he went to camp. I was in Georgia by myself looking at these walls like, who are you when you're not Aaron's mom?
Mm.
And okay, we gonna keep it real. I was drinking too much wine and I was playing tennis. I was getting out, but I was just in my head overthinking things. I didn't have anybody to cook for, clean up after, chauffeur around. I really did not know what or who I was. And so, and this was after my divorce, right? So it's one thing if I had had a husband or a partner to go through this with, I was really just trying to figure it out. And so I called my counselor who helped me through my divorce. And I was like, hey, we got to figure this out. Stacia right now doesn't know who she is without being a mom.
Wow.
And we did some soul searching. She had me doing some journaling and meeting with her a little more regularly. And that's when I said, okay, we can go back to grad school. That was plan A. Plan B was to start a business. It's a business I've always wanted to start. And I still have a very detailed Apple note of what I'd like that to be.
Wow.
And so I was like, let's put it in motion. So I applied to TC again, but we always think we're never enough. So I was like, oh, I'm not going to get in. This is like one of their premier graduate programs for independent school educators. And I was like, you know what? And even if I do get in, do I want to go back into Ivy League debt at 44? I got to put my own kid through college.
Right.
So applied and I got in.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that doesn't mean I'm going to go. But girl, God blessed me with like a $20,000 scholarship. And I was like,
wow.
Oh, okay. So we about to do this. And so I'm telling you, like everything just kind of came into like fruition, lots of prayer. I went to grad school, have an amazing group of cohort friends. I think 2 of them are watching us now.
Wow.
They become like 2 of my best friends, actually. We just like spent 6 weeks of intensity last summer together in New York. But then I got the promotion. And so all of this, Trinace, happened. And my son goes to college next year. And I have things to keep me busy. And I've found some things to do. But things that I enjoy. Like I wasn't just trying to fill up my space with like meaningless stuff. Those 2 boards that I was invited to be a part of. One is the YMCA here in Greater Atlanta. Doing great things for our community. I'm also on a association for technology leaders, and you don't see a lot of Black women in technology. So it's an honor to be a part of that as we're trying to, build and grow that as well. So they're all things that I'm passionate about. And I've raised a pretty independent, amazing kid. So I've been joking with my colleagues since we've been virtual. He's pretty much been raising himself because I've been so busy. But I thank God for parents who gave him a car for Christmas. Shout out to grandma and grandpa because he can drive himself to track and all those things. And I don't have to worry about who Stacia is. I found myself. And I'm still discovering myself, right? There's still moments.
I appreciate you sharing, and one of your friends out there, always real, Stacia. I love that and that's how I have always experienced you. And I love that you shared that you did not know who you were outside of that role. And so I've asked folks in the chat to just let me know if you feel as though you have dealt with any mental health, any mental wellness, depression, anything that has kept you not feeling whole and healthy. I think at some point in all of our lives, we end up dealing with something. It could be maybe sparked by grief and loss, divorce, sickness, illness, but it gets to a point where you don't feel, you're like, who am I and what am I here for? And do I want to be here? And if I am going to be here, what the heck am I supposed to be doing? Like we have all of those feelings and it comes on from something. And yours, I think women can really relate to this who have kids, came from I'm doing for this person or these people, and outside of this, who am I? If you're just in a relationship, some women just give everything in a relationship and are like, who am I outside of this relationship? Maybe you're not married and you don't have children, but you give everything to your job or everything to your church. And if they take away those duties, those responsibilities, who am I? And so I love that you found stuff that you love to do, because that's what I preach. Like, who are you means, what do I like? What do I not like? What do I enjoy? And so I want you to talk about that a little bit, because I can only imagine. Okay, so I really want to take a moment and just, in addition to you saying, who am I? What came up for you? What feelings and what thoughts came up for you from, I'm just going to name them, right? So divorce, single parenthood, raising a child, single, loneliness, and, trying to figure out the dating thing and putting off and postponing some, maybe some things that you would want to do for your career, you said. What do those feelings sound like, look like in your life? What does that feel like, so that, I'm telling you, if you felt it, somebody else did. So if you could just put some legs on that for us before we move past it.
Well, it was heavy.
Yeah.
Right? It's heavy. And for me, heaviness shows up in my weight.
Uh-huh.
I'm 5'1", y'all. So, I'm not supposed to have so much meat on my bones, even though thanks to McFadden family.
I'm just a hair above you. I was number 6. I'm just fair.
Right. So, mine came in like eating for comfort. Eating when I was, tired. For some reason, I wasn't sleeping well. And so what happens when you don't sleep? You eat, you snack, you drink, whatever. So it was just, and then sometimes I just found myself, Trinace, like, you ever just feel like you just in a rut and you can't even put your finger on it, but you don't even know how to come out of it.
Yep.
And that's what it felt like. I felt like I was existing. I wasn't thriving. And it's so funny. Sterling K. Brown did this beautiful tribute to Ahmaud Arbery where he talked about the mask. And as Black women, we've always worn masks, right? And I'll say I've been fortunate where I didn't feel like I had to wear a mask much of my early life, but after going to a predominantly Black school, growing up in a town with really positive Black people, Black principal, my mom was a well-respected educator in our town. Go to college, HBCU, got all that support. And then I went to IBM where I was the only Black working with a bunch of cocky white men.
Wow.
It did something in my self-esteem. You feel invisible. You feel like you're not good enough. And so I've been wearing masks. I think like the Black woman part of me has been wearing masks since about 22, age 22. And we show up strong. We show up powerful. We show up, oh, I'm intelligent. I got this, I got that. I don't need you. I did a lot of that fronting, right? And then later you're like, what was all that for?
Right.
Did I need it? And so you carry all that around, it builds up. And just like Erica Bobby was talking about bag lady, I had lots of bags and it's not comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's what it felt like and what it looked like.
And I love that, because what that means is the external issues, the external stuff that's weighing us down literally packs itself onto us in weight and pounds. Same thing, I use the verbiage a lot, the emotional roller coaster, because that's really, I am an emotional eater, so my weight rode the roller coaster with my emotions. And it's, still tends to do that. And so that's a real thing. So then how do you've given us one very clear one. One very clear one I heard was, in order to deal with the issues that would come up regarding your mental health, your physical wellness, you started doing some things that you enjoyed. That was a clear one. Are there other things that really helped you balance out and find some happy medium and some sanity amidst all the stuff that you were dealing with?
I will, I'm a proponent for counseling, which I've already said, which that came later in life. That did not come early. And it's so funny. I think that came pretty much after marriage even. So I was in my late 30s before I found that. But like right now, just getting some fresh air, going out for a walk, taking a breath. I've done a lot with mindfulness, even with my team, because we're always just kind of ripping and running. And sometimes we're ripping and running from something, we're ripping and running to something, and you don't even know why. And so we've got to take time out and smell the roses. And I know that sounds so cliche, but when I see these numbers go up for COVID deaths, I'm like, we got to take time out to enjoy the people around us and enjoy ourselves. And I had to learn to even like myself, Trinace, right? Because being a single mom, and I felt invisible by men for a long time, right? And that's a hard one for women who like to feel validated, and seen. So I take walks. I play lots of tennis.
I love that. When I saw that became your thing, I was like, oh, I'm so happy she found that thing. Yoga has been that for me. I love that you mentioned wellness and mindfulness, because I think if we are able to really just settle our minds, well, first of all, I'll just say the energy that's generated from it, the endorphins that go off from any level of activity, like you said, being outside or tennis or yoga, anything that yields some activity from us, our body respond. It may kill us during it, right? But after the fact, we get some exhilaration and some endorphins from it that are really helpful to us. So,
but Trinace, I want to go back to what you were just saying about settling your mind, right? I used to be afraid to settle my mind.
Oh, that's good. Talk about that.
I always you'll hear a lot of my friends like, you need to slow down, you need to slow down. And I think I didn't slow down because I didn't like what I would be thinking about if I slowed down too much, right? That's when you start thinking about the loneliness or the weight and all this other stuff. So I would keep myself busy with Delta, with tennis, with book club, with this and all this other stuff. So I wouldn't have to think about how sad I thought my life was.
Wow.
And that right there was a big one for me, like just taking time to journal or process and not be afraid of quiet. Like right now, it's so funny. I get in my car and don't even turn on a radio.
Me either, Stacia.
And I love music. And so I just need it to be quiet. And I was afraid of quiet for a long time.
Yeah. That is so good. The idea that we need to slow down from the outside looking in, somebody looking at you or somebody else who is doing it in all of the things and excelling at all of the things, they would think, oh my gosh, she must be, living her best life. She must be doing all these things. And sometimes, for some people that's true. But sometimes it's us trying to run from stuff. Like we are busy bees trying to run from stuff. And so I'm so glad you said that, because it's true of some of us. And the slowing down and calming of our minds and being still means that we should and can deal with some stuff. I know that even on the replay, because it happens, I end up getting notes of folks who are watching replay or who might be up here right now, that there are women who are dealing with the same thing. They have excelled in their professional life, just like you. They are dealing with relationship issues that, you kind of run down the gamut of. Maybe they are divorcees or have never been married or in a marriage, and they're like, like there's just, it can run the gamut no matter where you are in your relationship status or your work status. You may have kids, or you may be bemoaning never having children. Wherever you are, mental health issues can show up. Your health and wellness in mind, body, and spirit can be diminished. And so kind of out of all of your life experiences and all the things that you've done, what would your advice be? This goes really fast. We're already at the 30-minute mark. I know, right? What would your advice be for the women? I say that these are sneak peeks into a real conversation with real women. So you come to the sister circles and you get more real conversation. But what would your advice be to women who are dealing with some of that stuff right now?
I think you just got to know yourself. Right? Like you really gotta understand and take time to know, like, what is it that makes you happy? And I know happy sounds very superficial, right? It sounds very surface level, but I don't think God put us here not to be happy.
So, tell
And
it.
so you've got to find those things that are meaningful to you, that give you purpose, and know what the triggers are and know what the signs are. I have some really good girlfriends at work now where something sets me off. I can just go to their office and be like, okay, something's going on, but I don't know what it is. I just need to talk it through. I'm a verbal processor. So I've found ways to get myself out of it quicker, but I have to know like what's triggering me to go down. And I can't let myself go so far down because that's when I'm the least productive. And it takes me a long time to come out of it. So I'm learning how to bounce back faster. So know what the triggers are, know what keeps you sane, and try to do a little bit of it every day, right? You have to make it a habit.
Yeah.
So
So I want everybody who is listening now or in the replay to really just know thyself, right? Like to figure out what you like, what you don't like. And I think what often happens is we assume that what we have done is what we're always supposed to do. We can switch it up. We can change our minds. It is our prerogative to decide that we can do something different. And you mentioned the word happy, and I put a plug in when I think the settings weren't correct. I'll do it again because it is not a light term. And I know people say, there's a difference between joy and happiness. Well, I liken them because literally, if I ask you how you feel right now, you have a feeling attached to that. And if it's never happiness, or if you can never describe your life or yourself as happy, that's an issue. Like that's an issue for me, you, or anybody else. I'm not pointing, outward. I'm saying I have to evaluate if I'm never happy, what that means, what that looks like in my life. And so I think that's a big deal. So we will be on December 12th. We are literally talking about that topic that you just said, but are you happy though, in our sister circle? So I really hope that you all attend that on December 12th, and all of that information is on our website. I thank you so much for this time. We really can't, we can easily text and talk and that kind of thing, but it has been so good to see your face and to talk to you live. Is there anything you want to share that's going on with you? I just shared about the Real Women's Circle happening on December 12th. Any information or resources or anything you want to share that's happening with you?
Ooh, I now feel like I don't have anything, but no, I'm good. One day I'll be an entrepreneur, bad boss like you,
Whatever. You are a bad boss. Let me tell you, I have never, not ever had chief officer with something in the middle in my name. So whatever.
But no, it was just good to connect with you again.
Yeah, I love you. This has been so good. Listen, y'all. Look, see, somebody's on the station. Let's go. This is I have shared my Stacia with y'all. I appreciate you again. I appreciate the kind words where you started with me, but you have been an example for me about the importance of sisterhood and connectedness, that at whatever stages we're all in life, you pop in and you keep us connected in some way, shape, or form. And so I just want to thank you for being that for me and for us, for our line sisters, and our community of friends. So thank you. I love you.
Well, thank you. Love you too, hon.
Thank you all so much for joining us. This is just, y'all literally just had a sneak peek into a conversation of some girlfriends, but we really appreciate you being here. You can join us every Wednesday night that we have a guest. We will be back at 8:00 p.m. for just 30 minutes to give you a sneak peek into a conversation, a real conversation with real women. And until then, you are welcome to visit our website at realwomenrock.org. We will soon have the December 12th information posted. Until then, please go to the website, find out more about us and information about who we are and what we offer. We are a nonprofit. So in this season of giving, if it so moves you, please feel free to pour into us as a nonprofit, and it will be tax deductible. Love you guys, and we'll see you next week. Thank you,
Right.
Stacia.
Thanks. Bye, y'all. Good night.
Good night.